Joel, appreciate you. I know you're traveling out of town at events, stepping in, so would love to kind of hear, boots on ground. What are, actual agents, what are they saying? Where are the struggles? I've got a handful of biggest challenges from survey that went out a couple weeks ago that we can dive into. Obviously, Trav would love to hear kind of where you're struggling. Obviously, any of you guys joining us, JC here with us, if you want to, participate, get in anything that you're wrestling with, let us know. As well as Iva, keep an eye on anybody joining us in the Honey Badger Nation. If anybody pops in, has any questions, we would love to kind of hear what's going on. And that's really the intent of the Power Hour, is to really just power through the biggest challenges that we're all facing in today's market. And doesn't matter kind of where, what stage of the business and what season of the business, what season of life. I mean, it's, the only time that you don't have constraints is if you ain't trying. And then those constraints will come a little bit later. And Joel, I had Mr. DJ Fairley on the podcast earlier today. Just a fantastic conversation, and DJ's so locked in. They're just crushing production at such a massive level, and so it's really really cool to see. Obviously we get to see Trav's production, which he's crushing it as well. But I we were just in conversation, and DJ said something, so I pulled up the Joe Polish quote that just really resonates at such a high level. And the quote goes, "Life is easy when you live it the hard way, and hard when you live it the easy way." So, like, we have to do hard things to make life easy. And it's like, how Elrod Savers, it's the silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, scribing, all of those things. It's getting the steps in, it's the water, it's the 75 hard, it's the the macros of our business, the conversations, the setting appointments, the taking of the business. It's all of those front end things that are within our control that are hard, that make life easy. And it's real easy to sit on the couch and point fingers and put the victim glasses on, and that makes life real freaking hard. So, the choice is yours. Choose your hard. And I would rather do the hard things and make life easier than just coast and make things real freaking hard. So excited to jump in. Before we go, obviously anybody tuning in, jumping in with us, but we are, holy smokes, we are what, 4 or 5 weeks away, Joel, from Agent to CEO in Cleveland. I know Trav, we're going to see you there. Obviously Joel, myself, Tina Call, Veronica Figueroa, Mr. Blake Sloan, Kinder, Stasic, Nick Krim, myself. I know we'll have a couple other surprises up our sleeve, and really looking forward to that event. I know we're about 50% at capacity, so tickets are still available. The VIPs are about gone. So get the tickets, get to Cleveland. If you can make it to Cleveland, get there, get your ticket. Listen, I mean, the investment is well worth it. I mean, Trav, you were there last year. You can speak to, the event, and, just the return on your time, and, not only time and travel, but money, the investment you made. I mean, what was your takeaway walking out of Cleveland last year?
Man, it's been almost a year ago to remember the exact takeaway, but I will tell you, it got me in rooms and it got me talking to people who thought a lot bigger than me, bigger than my Southwest Oklahoma mind thought at the time. And it just set me on a different, I guess, different goals, you know, goals that are achievable that I never even thought could even be goals, if that makes any sense, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And that I realized I was shooting from the hip and I had to get somebody to teach me to help me get on a direction, a path, instead of just trying to catch every deal I can, you know. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
100%. It does.
Yeah.
100%. So appreciate that. So Joel, kind of, you're in the trenches at events, talking to people, kind of fill us in. I mean, what's the temperature of the room? What are the challenges? What are people wrestling with? And appreciate you guys tuning in with us, either here live on the Zoom or tuning in to us live on Facebook. Whatever questions you have. I mean, this is, why we're doing this. We're doing the Power Hour, which is going to kind of be a Agent to CEO Power Hour run up to the Agent to CEO live event in Cleveland next month. So we're going to keep this time locked in. I mean, come on, guys. I'm missing out on Patrick Bet-David's webinar right now to tune in and be here with you guys. So, take advantage of the time. Share the struggles, share the challenges, what you guys are wrestling with. Joel and I have the opportunity to talk to some of the best on the planet every single day and help them navigate and work through the challenges in business and in life right now. So, Joel, I would love to kind of hear your take, kind of what's going on, from a really in the room, what people are really wrestling with.
Yeah. So I'm at in a super cool town, McKinney, Texas. I actually really like it. I've been here once before, but I'm at a mastermind of specifically business owners who have multiple businesses. Most of them have at least a real estate team or brokerage, and then two or three other things going on. And I didn't think the host of the event would appreciate it, but there was 7 times where I could have said, "You need to come to Agent to CEO next month," because that's exactly what you're going to deal with. So, what I'm seeing is we've got a lot of successful people, either successful with a team or successful on their own, who are thinking, "What's next?" So, like, okay, we're back to the clarity part of Agent to CEO. The vision has become fuzzy. We achieved some of the goals we thought were going to make us happy. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but we're thinking about what's next. So getting crystal clear on that vision, again, if you need to. A lot of people talking about recruiting and talking about value proposition. What is the value proposition that's going to be most attractive to different types of agents, kind of the second half of this decade here, when we're thinking about lead generation, we're thinking about who we're going to be competing against, what the AI landscape's going to look like, what should I be thinking about as a team leader and broker that I can offer my agents? How does that affect splits? Again, that's like we talk value proposition and business model in Agent to CEO. A lot of which will be no surprise for you with all your coaching, but like doing too many things. Too many priorities, trying to execute on too many things and not succeeding at any of them, which again is back to strategy. What are we going to focus on? What are we not going to focus on? So I kind of chuckled, and I just thought, man, this is all the Agent to CEO stuff that we're struggling with. So I wouldn't say there were any themes really, other than probably needing to spend some time getting clear.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny, I posted a reel yesterday after a conversation last week that I had, and the gentleman shared with me, procrastination is often caused by a lack of clarity. And we've all been there, right? We procrastinate, we drag our feet. And sometimes, we want to beat ourselves up, and it's like, just get into action, just do the thing. And it's like, okay, what is the thing? What's the right move here? And overthinking it sometimes is always an issue, but sometimes procrastination is just an awareness, a signal that, like, dude, what am I supposed to do? Like, okay, I get it. What's my goal? But maybe I've lost sight of my resourcefulness. That's even key, is like, where do I go to find the answers? Like, oh yeah, that's right. Sometimes, I've shared this with you, Joel. So we had a mentor growing up, Trav, there in Southeast Lawton, and he was just an OG builder. Ended up having, just true entrepreneur. He was an OG. Had his own lumber yard to supply his own product. So he was like, I'm getting my own stuff. Why not get it at a discount and then sell it to other, builders and other consumers and make a profit and actually make a business out of it? Like, that's the way you see opportunities and make something out of what you're already doing. And so we worked during high school, during the summers, and a little bit after college. We laid sod. We did everything. And it was one of the, tailgate moments. And he told us too, he's like, he's like, listen, guys, you know, the older you get, because he would listen to us bitch about silly things, right? You know, $100 problems. And he's like, listen, the only thing that changes the older you get, the only thing that changes are the zeros. That's it. The problems are still the problems. You just go move from $100 problems to $10,000, $100,000 problems. That's what you move towards. It all stays the same. It's just zeros change. That's it. But he's like, listen, you guys like have to understand, I've forgotten more than people will ever know about building a home. And he goes, that's the same for you. You get into a craft or to a career and you're, you know, like for me, 21 years in, almost 14 years of one-on-one coaching. It's like, yeah, that's right. Yes, let's do that. Let's try that. Because when you stay grounded in principle, those things are easy to recall, but like, you just have to keep moving. You just have to keep pushing. The only time that, you know, Joel, we run into a wall and we're like, you know, checkmate is when we stop trying. Like you cannot just stop trying. You just like, I'll never forget Lindsay Stevens. If you guys know Lindsay, she's an OG. She's in upstate New York, and her and Bruce, they're amazing. And she's an endurance athlete as well. And she's like, listen, Kitchens, forward is a pace. And I've never forgotten that, right? It's all about progress. Forward is a pace. As long as we're moving, I don't care if it's, you know, a shuffle, right? If we're shuffling along. I've been in endurance races where people are just shuffling. Their feet aren't even coming off the ground. They're shuffling, but they're moving. Forward is a pace. And that's what we have to remember. And the only time that we don't have a move is when we give up. But back to the, you know, procrastination is often caused by a lack of clarity. And I was thinking through it is that, and Joel, you know, I've talked about this, chaos is the enemy of growth, right? And clarity overcomes chaos. And so if you feel like you're in absolute chaos, you need to really step back and get crystal clear. So Joel, let's unpack what is clarity? What does that mean when you hear the word, hey man, we just need to get clear? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think let's walk it all the way through, right? Starting from big picture all the way down to what am I doing today? Because you need that level of clarity all the way through. But you have to do it right things, right order, right? So starting off, getting clear, the vision, like what do we want this to be? What do I want the next 3 years to look like? What do I want the next 5 years? What's the ultimate, you know, goal? Are we clear on that? Are we clear on our values? How we're going to make decisions? What kind of people are we going to work with? What kind of people are we going to hire? How are we going to run our business? So there's the vision piece that's critical because everything else is going to be in pursuit of that. When we're clear there, we move into, are you clear on strategy? What are the 1 to 3 things you're doing over the next 90 days that are going to either solve your biggest problem or capitalize on your biggest opportunity? Are we clear on what those are? Then are we clear on what success looks like for each of those things? Is there a number behind it that we can track? We can measure our progress. What are the actions we need to take on a monthly basis to move us towards those goals and executing that strategy? And then we just keep going. All right, what am I going to do this week to hit those numbers, to execute on that strategy in pursuit of that, you know, bigger vision? And so we can get it down all the way to what am I going to do today? One of the reasons I love your Sunday planning exercise that you teach is, okay, that's how you get it to the day, right? Every week's going to be a little bit different, but there's going to be a lot of things that are the same. But we're putting time in the calendar every day to focus on our top priorities to ensure that we hit them. So clarity is all of those things. And skipping any of the steps causes a lack of clarity. So it's not good enough to get clear in 2 of those areas. You have to get clear in all of them, and you have to do it in the right order. Otherwise, you lose focus, you create chaos, and you know we spend a ton of mental energy on what am I supposed to do today, and we can get that level of clarity. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do today, and that feels really good.
Yeah. And I think it's a balance too, right? It's not or, it's and. It's a balance of the future and it's a balance of the present because we sometimes, listen guys, well, you have to remember growth sucks cash. And I had a great mentor, you know, share like, listen, dude, if you don't go broke 3 or 4 times on this journey, you ain't pushing hard enough. And that always gave me some peace and some calm in that, okay, I am doing the right thing. I'm pushing, my foot is on the gas. Like, I'm trying. I'm continuing to reinvent myself. I'm always looking to add value. Where's the market going? What are things that are happening? And like Renee gets into the market, the 7, 8, 9 time frame, which for a lot of folks cannot even comprehend what was happening during that time. I was fortunate enough to be kind of out on the front end of that leading into it. And then, where's the opportunity? Kendra went short sales. I went new construction. That's just where the opportunity was. And I was like, listen, 4, 5, 6 in early part of 7, I was operational. I was back of the house. Like I was not at the front of the house. I was not in the trenches with the consumer, and my life depended upon commissions. The end of 7, 8, and 9, like I had to go hunt and kill. And it gave me that perspective. And it's like, I had never worked a commission job in my life up until that point, but you just adapt because that's what the environment and that's what the market is throwing to you. And we're more capable than what we even know that we're capable of. Obviously, uncovering a lot of that on the physical, endurance side of things, but like it's even proven in like, we figure it out, right? Like we figure things out. And like, I'm just going to keep saying, the only time you don't have a move is when you give up. And so when I look at the balance, Joel, of what you said there, yeah, I want to keep working towards the future, but most of the times we get just caught up in the present, which is survival. And I'll never forget, man. I know you've heard me tell this story. So the first time we went to Jay Abraham, the first Jay Abraham event we went to, and he really unlocked so much for us. And I would love to come back to Hermosi after we talk through everybody's questions and what Hermosi did over the weekend. By the way, if y'all don't realize that is the most remarkable marketing feat in history, then you just haven't paid attention. It was the most impressive marketing feat. He checked every box when it comes to marketing that you could ever check. So we can come back to that. We can talk about that for that's going to be studied for years of what he did. Like literally think about this. Every book is worth $30. As of yesterday, almost 3.3 million books. Do the math. 3.3 times 30. I'll let you guys do the math. So when we look at Joel, looking into the future, not getting stuck just in the present, we have to be working in that known direction. But the biggest thing, man, that we have to remember is this within my control? Because when things get tight and we get into the fight or flight mode, sometimes we freeze because we forget about that little third, fight or flight. There's also the freeze component. And it's like forward is a pace. What can I do today within my control that's going to allow me to move closer to where it is that I want to go? And so I'm looking at survey feedback over here, and I see, consistency. I see lack of discipline. I see missing systems. I see no clear systems. I see burnout. And so there's just a lot of, trying to do much, to do too much. And you said it, strategy is like, what are we doing? But the essence of strategy is choosing what not to do. And, your concept of half-built bridges is so freaking prevalent. And like even think about Trav, imagine, you're on this southwestern Oklahoma island. How many half-built bridges do you have around your southwest Oklahoma island? And it's like, well, we started YouTube. Well, that's a half-built bridge. We started going live and doing content video. That's a half-built bridge. We got this. And I think right now is really trying to figure out, like what you said, Joel, what's the destination? What are all the ways to get there? What's the path of the highest probability that's going to allow me to get across the bridge that will get me moving in the direction I want to go? What bridge or bridges will allow us to go there? And so that's just really what we've got to be thinking about right now. And it's just constantly, pushing and looking. So I know that's a lot, but it's both. It's keeping an eye on the future, but also an eye on the present while we have our foot on the gas, doing the things within our control.
Yeah, love it.
Well, cool. So I love to, allow y'all for jumping in here on a Tuesday evening with us. Like I said, this was kind of born out that I wanted to do something in the evening, and Joel's like, okay, well, let's do it. And so we're going to run up to Cleveland over the next few weeks, leading up to Agent to CEO Live. And so we're going to run with the Power Hour to that point. If we get some traction, y'all are loving it, we'll keep doing it. But for sure, we're going to keep pushing. And our intent is just to come out and, I mean, Joel and I can talk all day long, but we really want to be here for you guys and help you guys, get unlocked, kind of maybe where you're stuck, things you're wrestling with, and take advantage of us.
Yeah. Well, while we're waiting on some questions, I was kind of thinking on the mastermind I'm at today, and good a good lesson here is in thinking. I didn't see a lot of themes in terms of what people were struggling with specifically. What I did see a theme in is the most successful people in the room were had a mindset of we have a good plan and now we're working the plan. And it takes a lot of kind of like entrepreneurial maturity to get to the point where it's like we don't need to tinker with it. We don't need something new right now. We don't need a new lead source. We don't need new technology. We have a good plan and we're working the plan. And that's going to take a little time to do it all, but don't mess with it while we're building momentum. We're working the plan. So we have a good plan. Now we're in work the plan. Be consistent, stay consistent. Don't quit too soon. Don't blow it up. Don't change course. Believe in what you put in place and stay the course. And a lot of the top businesses in the room today where, yeah, we've got problems, we've got things to do, but I'm not at this mastermind today to figure out my next move. I know that we just have to work the plan and stay consistent. So I think there's a good lesson there. Still have to be clear, right? Still have to go through that whole process, but now we have our plan, which includes our priorities and it includes what we're going to do specifically to get there. And now we stay consistent until we get there. And a lot of agents, team leaders, and business owners, they lose it over the midterm. And what I mean by that is it's fun and exciting to think about the big picture goals and the vision and cast the vision. And it's really excited to start things and get motivated for a little bit, but staying consistent over that, beginning of the third month of the quarter, beginning of the last quarter of the year, beginning of, year 2 of the 3-year plan, where we lose it over the midterm because either we tinker with it, we want to change course, it's not moving as fast as we wanted. So I think a lot of people fail over the midterm, and the people who are staying consistent with the things they control, with good strategy, of course, all those things, but that consistency, I think, was a big theme today.
Out of curiosity, you said that those successful teams weren't in the mastermind to figure out their next move. What are they at the mastermind for?
We sign NDAs in this mastermind, so I won't give too many specifics. A lot of it, people are there for connections. A lot of people had some version of like wanting to know what other people are doing that's working. Finding blind spots is a big one. Some people were certainly there with a major problem and can you help me fix this problem? Like there's definitely, plenty of that. Or I have this big opportunity or I have this goal, like help me figure out what are all the ways, right? And then we'll pick the best one. So that was a lot of the reasons people showed up.
Yeah, sometimes it's just looking for that spark, for that inspiration to, what's that, like, get me going again. And I mean, obviously, Renee, you've been around. You've heard me say this over and over. Like, I just you can never go to an event without an intent. Like, what is your primary objective? What problem are you looking to solve? And I think the ones that it's okay if you're going for inspiration, you're going for, a connection, you're going for something, but like get clear on what you're going for. Because if not, then it's just you're going for a vacation. You're going for a little intellectual entertainment. You're going for, God dang, let me get out of my market. I need to breathe for a second. But it's like, listen, I mean, you're taking time away from your family, which might be the whole objective too, but it also could be, like get real clear. Like that way, when you walk out of there, you got what you went for, and you're going to get a return on that, not on just money invested, but time invested. And I know a lot of people that don't have that investor mindset, like you do, Renee. You go in intentionally, and sometimes it is to recharge, right? I mean, we've done KTs where people just come in like, dude, I just need a breather. Like, I just need to breathe. I need to plug back in. I need a shot of adrenaline. I need a shot of inspiration to allow me to run the next 90 days. And that's okay. But that's their goal. That's the intent. And so I think, we just have to be really intentional of what we're trying to do. And I mean, it's a lot right now. It's really like, if anybody says it ain't hard, they lying to you. I promise you. They are lying to you if they don't say, bro, it's a beast out there. It's like, I got to put my armor on every day. Yes, sir, you do. Every day you do. And so then the question would be, is like, what are you doing to put your armor on? That's the spiritual, the physical, the emotional, the mental things that we've always talked about, right? The power of full engagement. That's the savers. That's the things within your control to make you the best version of you every single day. It is so critical right now that you've got to be able to do that. And remember, we're all leaders. Every one of us on this call is a leader, because I know every one of you on here have kiddos, and you've got kiddos that are looking to you, and you've got other people that are counting on you. And that's what DJ said today on the podcast that I just absolutely love, because we were talking about when he blew his Achilles. And so he's blown his Achilles. He's blown both Achilles. He did one back in college, and then he blew one at the end of last year, and might have been at the beginning of this year. But he blew his Achilles, and he knew the second it went, he knew what it was. And like, we see these professional athletes, and they're in tears and they can't walk off. I've only seen one person besides DJ, and that was Kobe. Kobe got up, walked over, shot 2 free throws, and obviously had a little bit of help, but he walked off the court. And you see these NBA players, I mean, they're out there crying, and, DJ just, Achilles is gone. And I believed him because he'd done it before. So I was like, okay, got up, walked over to his car. Actually, I pulled his car down the hill, pulled it around. He got in the car, drove off. And I was like, dude, like, for you, what was going through your mind? He goes, I knew my son was depending upon me. Like, I couldn't lay here and be, oh, poor, pitiful me. Like, I have somebody depending upon me. I have to get up and show up. I've got to go to work. Like, I don't have a choice. I can't sit here and put my victim glasses on. And I was like, that's a great reminder for all of us, right? Sometimes we want to have a little poor, pitiful me party. And it's like, no, what are you talking about? Like, no, we got to suit up. We got people dependent upon us. And it's just a great reminder, what we got to do every day to get after it. Cool. What's on y'all's mind? I know we got Trav and Renee, and we got a few folks hanging out with us. I've anybody on the live feed with us. If anybody's got any questions, let us know. We'd love to kind of unpack it. And that's really what us coming here live with you guys, Power Hours, to answer questions in real time, kind of what's on your mind. What are you guys wrestling with?
There are questions John made. Basically.
Okay, cool. Perfect. I think we hit a lot on kind of some burnout stuff, right? To me, and Joe, I love your take on it, but to me, burnout is, doing things that you shouldn't be doing, right? Things that fall into your working frustration on the working genius, things that you are not capable of doing, um, things that fall out of your scope of you know, either genius or competencies. That will tend to, for me, has always, drained the battery real fast if I'm not excited about it. And, that's why we go through unique ability exercise. Martell talks about it into the productivity quadrant, which is the things that make you the most amount of money as well as give you the most amount of energy, and just making sure you're aware of getting to that point. And I think the big thing with people with burnout, they're just not aware. They think they have to grind. They think they have to hustle and do everything instead of hustling and grinding, doing the things that they love or that gives them energy. So any other takes, any other thing kind of when you hear the word burnout?
For me, I think and this kind of gets to what we're seeing a lot in terms of real estate teams. I think you either have to genuinely enjoy the journey, or the destination has to be big enough that it's manageable to do the work to get to the destination. I think what
Yeah.
we see a lot of people trying to create a real estate team that accomplishes all these things, right? And it's sometimes we're just like, I don't think what you want is possible. Like, I don't want to be, I don't want to be the doubter here. You want to have all of these things, but you're not willing to do these certain things to get those things. Like, I don't know if you're being realistic here. So the example I'm thinking about is, all right, you're building a real estate team, and that's hard work. It's difficult. It's complicated. So you either have to love that team, like Kyle Whistle talked, don't start a team if you don't like people, or you have to say this real estate team is, or my real estate business is a means to an end, which is I want this business to be a cash machine for me so I can acquire real estate or other businesses or whatever that is, and therefore I'm okay doing a bunch of real estate deals for the next 10 years. Where we get stuck, I think, is I don't know if this real estate thing is going to get me where I want to go, and therefore it's really hard to deal with the grind of it all. So we don't have the destination isn't big enough, or we just don't enjoy the work. But I think you have to have one. You have to genuinely enjoy the work, or the destination has to be big enough that I'm happy to pay this price to get to that destination. And I think that helps a lot with burnout, for me especially.
So John and I had our coaching call today, and I was like, man, like the burnout is real. And after we had that call, I was really thinking about it, and it was everything I was doing was not in alignment with my goal, which is why I was feeling burnout. Like if it was an alignment with my goal, then I would have been energized and excited about the things that I was having to grind out doing. But I was too busy doing all the things that are not in alignment with my goal. Now they may be somewhat necessary, but not as necessary or as important as I placed the importance on them. So that was my like aha today. It was like, okay, I now I know why I'm experiencing the burnout. It's because it's not in alignment with where it is I want to go and what I want to do with my business, and I'm too busy doing these other things that, although I may have to step out and take care of, it doesn't need to be as important in my day, if that makes sense.
That's a great insight. I love that alignment. Yeah, I think you're spot on.
It is. It's a it is. It is so good when it comes to that realization. It goes back to what we've been talking about, and it's the third thing in Ben Hardy's new book, The Science of Scaling, and signal and noise, right? Like if it's not in alignment to the goals, then it's just noise. And what are you doing to ruthlessly eliminate the noise so that you can just focus on the signal and the activities? And I keep coming back. It just keeps playing over and over and over in my head. The essence of strategy is choosing what not to do. That's just where my like everything is like less is more than more. And so that's, God dang, man, that's so good. But to Renee's point, it's one of those things that it's almost that you have to, it's Inception. It's the DiCaprio movie, right? Like you have to take root of it and believe it that it's yours or it's nothing's going to change. Right. Like if you listen and like and I had that conversation, but my job is to plant some seeds for them to grow in Renee and for her to go, yeah, that's right. And then that takes root and then the decisions are made. So it's so good. And I get it, because I mean, that's just kind of where I'm at. I'm just like, I'm wrestling everywhere. Like this shit ain't working. This shit ain't working. This shit ain't working. It's like, what's working? And I'm reaching out to everybody and they're like, I don't know, bro. Nothing's working for me either. So it's just interesting, but it's one of those things is like, 3 feet from gold, right? 9,000 times to get that one time where it clicks. Cause when it clicks, it's on, and we just want to keep pushing through that. John, what's up, brother? Hey, so Andy and Scott had a couple questions in here. Joel, Iva, thank you for throwing them in. Just throw anything else in that pops up. Hey guys,
sorry.
So go
Can I
ahead,
go
bud.
one more thing
Yeah.
on burnout? If you're like, no, I am working on the right things. I do love it. I am in alignment. I had like what we just described doesn't apply to you, then it's probably I'd be thinking who, not how, right? Like if you are, all of those things are right, but you're still approaching that burnout, it's probably a who question. Who do you need to bring on to get you some time back or get you some freedom back or just get you, that chance to decompress? Do you need an assistant? Do you need a VA? Renee, your story is so great of kind of, I needed the life hire, not the business hire. But if everything else is in alignment and you're working on the right things, chasing your big goals, you're clear on all that, and then it's a who thing. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So Andy, I think we've hit on a lot of your question here. Hey guys, when you need a reset, how best to determine new focus? Sometimes for me, Andy, is just step away, right? Just step away. Sometimes you need to just, you can't see the picture inside the frame. Sometimes it's the whole tree and forest thing. Sometimes you're so close to it that you just can't see it. Jocko talks about it is that, when you're locked in and engaged, you can't see the natural move is right here, right? You feel you're locked in, you have no move, but all you got to do is disengage for a second, look around like, oh yeah, there's the stairs. We'll just go this way. Right. Because sometimes we're too locked in that we just can't see what's in front of us. And that's why I believe in partnerships, obviously believe in great coaching, because coaches help us, reveal our blind spots, and what we reveal, we can heal. I mean, that's a job of a coach, is to be able to see your blind spots. And, that's why we bring outside people. That's why we want to surround ourselves with people that will tell us what we need to hear, not what we want to hear. I saw, there's a great Jay Shetty, and I know I'm all over the map here, but there was a Jay Shetty, conversation that he was having, but he was talking about love. He was talking about, the relationships and the loves of your life. And he said, there's only 3 loves of your life. And there's a candle, there's a firecracker, and there's a mirror. And he said, typically you blow the candle out yourself. The firecracker is the one that always blows up on you. And the mirror is the one that is the most beneficial, because they're the one that will hold the mirror up and tell you and show you and reveal who you really are and where you need to grow and push you to change. And we typically want to break the mirror and stay with the firecracker. And so it was really good of how he, went about that. But, back to, Andy, back to your point, sometimes you just got to walk away, man. Sometimes you just got to walk away. Sometimes you got to find what recharges you, because sometimes our stress levels are so freaking high that it is impossible for us as humans to unlock the next levels of our life when we're stressing our way. Now, given you can stress your way to a certain point, but you hit the red line. Now, listen, there's always another level, and give you an example of this. So 04, come on board. We close out 340. I really didn't have much to do. I came on in October, starting to put some things in place, and really just observing, throughout the holiday season in 04 and into 05. We just rode the momentum, put guardrails in place, got a good cadence in place, tightened up the visibility, tightened up the reporting, tightened up the accountability. We made a run. We did 431, and then we made the jump to 521 the next year. Well, that was 20% market share. So keep that in mind. 521 transactions was over 20% market share for us. And we got smoked, right? This is where we got tripped up because we were chasing status. We were trying to be number one, and we got our lunch handed to us that year. Because we got smoked by a top 10 Remax team on the planet. They did about 150 transactions more than we did. And we justified, oh, there's two of them. And, you know, we confirmation, we just let ourselves off the hook, but we got smoked. And we stressed our way to 20% market share. Drinking every day, not for celebrating, just because life was shitty. Kinder was the heaviest I've ever seen in my life. He's probably about 20 heavier than he is now. Both of our relationships were in the trash. I mean, it was disaster. It was like, if you were to look and you're like, I would never trade my life for that, ever. And so you can stress your way to a certain point, but the trade-off ain't worth it. So the biggest thing that I can tell you when you need a reset, you need to find what's going to reduce and drop your stress levels. The number one thing is get connected back with nature. So for me, it's water. So when I know I need a reset, I have to get to water. Like, I've got to get to the beach. I've got to get to the lake. I've got to get somewhere to where I can be grounded, put my feet in the water, and just give myself 24, 48, hours to just let those stress levels come down. Because when the stress levels come down, now the creativeness comes back. Stress is high. You cannot be creative. You have to do everything to lower that down to be able to allow the creativeness to come back. So take with that, Andy, and just make sure that you're carving out, recharge time. And if you're kind of in a position right now where you're doing things that are not in your working genius or in your working competencies, and you're doing a lot of working frustrations, then give yourself more time to recharge. You may need a day and a half, 2 days every week to find that recharge. And you're like, well, I don't have time. I can't afford that. You can't afford not to have that, honestly. And you're going to be so much more productive if you can give yourself some space, but find what recharges you. And it's been awesome here in Pittsburgh because of the trees and the water, to where I can get like really grounded and recharged fast. Whereas, right, Trav, we ain't finding, unless you go to Medicine Park, but you ain't finding that stuff in Texas and in Oklahoma. So it's been good to be able to find that recharge. So find that for you. So that was my long-winded answer there for you, for Andy.
Yeah, that I was gonna say something very similar. If you need a reset because maybe we're not clear on what you want and where you're going, then it's step away, get in nature. Like, it might take a day or two, like John said, to get back to even. And then once you're back to even, now you can start thinking again about what do I really want. If you're clear on where you're going, but it's not working, and that's the reset you need, then have somebody help walk you through the plan and get the right strategy in place. So, jump on a clarity call with coach. If you got somebody in your network, or, a lot of very smart people in Honey Badger Nation, get with somebody to say, here's where I want to go. What I'm doing is not working. Let's make a new plan.
Yeah, I love it. So, Scott, love the idea of trusting the plan and not chasing the next shiny object. I struggle with that. We all do. I was gifted a book. Joel, I don't know, what did Danielle and Eric, did they send you the same book? Did they send you the Rubio book? Oh my gosh. So it's called The Creative Act, A Way of Being, and by Rick Rubin. And I can only get about 10 pages. So this is my good for my 10 pages a day. And then I just have to set it down because I can't stop thinking about it, because it's so, like, it's pretty heavy. And I saw, Renee, you would love this, I saw an MGK conversation where they talked about Rick Rubin. So get you kind of in that headspace and thinking. But I got a little earmark about 277 pages in. Joel, I'm sure you did as well. And it talks about living in discovery is at all times preferable to living through assumptions. So we have to be in the matrix doing the work, right? We can't just be sitting on the sidelines. It's the whole man in the arena, right? You got to be in the arena. You got to be doing the work. Can't be the skeptic on the sideline. So let me back up. We were in Key West a couple weeks ago, and we decided that it was Saturday night, it was Sunday. We wanted to go to church. So church in Key West, imagine that. I'll let your mind just kind of go, because whatever I explain, it's even crazier than what I could even articulate to you guys. So we end up finding this church, and we're a little skeptical. We're standing across the street, and there was a neighbor, and he said, "Hey, are you guys looking for the church?" And so we started talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, it's right there. It's been run down. It was vacant. These people came in and they rejuvenated the church and everything." And we're like, "Okay, so we're good. Can we go? Are we safe to go in there?" We're kind of joking. And he's like, "Yeah, you guys will be fine." It was an experience. I won't get into all the details. It was different. And, Leanne loves the songs and the music. And I'm more of I want to get to the story. Let's get to the message. That's what I want to get to. I want to teach me something. And so we go through the rigmarole and the do we stay or do we leave moments. And we ended up staying in the pocket long enough to get the message. And the message essentially was of a blind skier, a blind downhill skier. And so how is that possible? You're blind, but you're skiing. How is that possible? And it's only possible because you have a guide. And when you have your guide, you have one rule. Whatever the guide says, you do immediately without question. You don't question it. You don't hesitate. You do it. You trust the guide. And essentially the message was around, you just have faith. You have blind faith. And you just trust the process. And that's where the experience comes. And in this chapter here, talks about great expectations. And what helps to keep those worries at bay and move forward is trust in the process. Okay? Trust in the process. When we sit down to work, remember that the outcome is out of our control. The outcome is out of our control. What is within our control? That's the macros, right? That's the effort. That's the making of the phone call. That's having the conversations. That's having the conversations in ASK, right? If you don't ASK, you don't GET, asking for the appointment. When you're on the appointment, articulating your value and asking for the business, right? Those are within our control. This isn't a matter of blind belief in yourself. It's a matter of experimental faith. Faith is rewarded perhaps even more than talent or ability. Recognize we've ruled out 10 ways that don't work, bringing us to much closer to a solution. With unshakable faith, we work under the assumption that the problem is already solved. The answer is out there. Perhaps it's obvious. We just haven't come across it yet. And that resonated with me so freaking much, right? We talk about trust the process. Trust the process. Just have faith in the process. That's more powerful than trusting in the process. The process is there. Listen, I'm doing what's in my control. I have faith that the outcome is going to show itself because I'm doing the right things. I'm living, like Joel said, I'm living in alignment to my values. I know who I am. I'm not compromising my values. I'm having faith in trusting the process. It's so freaking powerful. And so let's give you guys a little sneak peek to the Open of Agent to CEO in Cleveland is going to be, blind faith. I mean, that's really what we have to sometimes operate on is just blind faith and trust the process. So Scott, trust the process, man. Just have faith.
That's awesome.
John, name of the book. Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. It's freaking remarkable. Yeah, it's really good. All right. So, let's see what other questions we have. So, what is your strategy to get the leads? The system is different. I get a call with Honey Badger and never have come back after the call. Julie, you're on. Do you want to kind of compromise? I mean, not compromise. Do you want to expand upon that for us real quick?
Yeah, sorry, not totally sure what you're asking there, Jalil.
I would say continue to rethink if we're talking about re-engagement, we have leads firing, we have leads coming in, ways to get the leads to work. One of my favorites, my favorites is just send a video text. That's my favorite. We put some real behind it. And now, I mean, I get it. Truckload, um, if you have a truckload of leads coming in, you're working through, you're trying to find engagement, you're throwing hooks out there of real value. Um, Saw some good Hermosi nuggets, Sharon nuggets. Like, hey, we need a buyer strategy. Hey, we need to talk about the four things that, the four biggest mistakes that people, make when they buy in Cleveland. I want to make sure that you don't fall into one of those big four mistakes of buying. Hey, and same thing, Renee, like you can get into, your wheelhouse of, um, you know, probate, getting into that situation. Hey, these are the four biggest downfalls. These are three biggest downfalls that people make, getting into that situation. So just thinking through a little bit of a different hook, and the tool is AI to help you work through those things, creatively work through those things. So there's ways to go about it.
She said, John, sounds like because she's French. So a good system to get leads. So I think first step is make a decision on CRM from EXP if you haven't already. I think they're probably all good options. I've used Lofty a little bit with Travis. I haven't used Bold Trail in a while, but they're all going to be fine for you. So make a decision there, and start getting ready for how are we going to convert leads. And then for where those leads come from, there's a lot of options. And so you have to think, all right, do you have a budget that you want to invest in that, where we can go buy run Facebook ads or pay-per-click or Google LSA? Is there a Zillow option that you can spend? If we don't have much budget, let's make sure we're getting our database and sphere of influence into the CRM and building a system around generating referrals and repeat business. If you can stomach it, there's expireds and for sale by owners you can call. There's probate leads. There's creating relationships with, in Quebec, so no Zillow. John, you got a bunch of Canadian clients, so you might know some other lead sources there. But if you're not crushing your sphere, I'd say that's where you start. If you're not doing something on social media to be building your brand, that's another pillar that you can take a look at. And then if you need to get some fast business, then maybe we're talking about something like a paid lead source or an expired source.
Yeah. So we always move where the eyeballs are. So the number one spot all eyeballs are at is organic social. And if we're not going all in on organic social, it's the wrong move. Because even the paid leads, as they come in, they're not going to be receptive, and they're going to see who's calling them, who's reaching out to them, and then they're going to go to social media, depending upon their demographic, and they're going to look for you and what shows up. And then the next thing is that I'm in Quebec. I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. Who's the best real estate agent in this particular area that's going to help me get into X, Y, and Z home? It ain't GTS no more. It's AI that shit. It ain't going to be Google that shit. It's going to be AI that shit. And that's what they're going to do. They are going to search you like crazy on AI. What comes up on ChatGPT when they search, right? Hey, I'm looking for a home in the Medicine Park area. I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. Who's the best real estate agent to help me get in, find the home that I'm looking for in Medicine Park? Travis Wright name doesn't come up, then we ain't doing enough to be placed within that search. That's how we have to be thinking. But organic social is everything. And it's all about views. How many views are you getting? And so what I would tell you guys, and I love this, what Blake teaches to his team is the social media triangle. Top of it is, does everybody know you're a real estate agent and they know what type of real estate you sell? You educate, you educate, you educate. You're doing property tours, you're doing walkthroughs, you're doing demonstrations, you're showing proof. Second, do they know you're a good human? Do they know you're a good human? They know spiritually, they know family, they know health. They just know you're a good human. Do they know that? And third is, are you an ambassador for your community? Are you an ambassador for your community? Are you connecting with small business? Are you showcasing the flower shop? Are you showcasing the coffee shop? Are you getting into what they can't find, out of the national chains, behind the scenes, mom and pops? Oh, this is the no. If you've lived here for 20 years, this is the spot. Like, are you an ambassador for that? Authenticity, of course, right? Because that's what trust is. All trust is authenticity times time. That's what builds trust. And in the direction we're going, and I stand with Gary Vee on this. He said, listen, guys, the only thing that will be of value to us in our business in 10 years, there's only one thing, that's brand. That's it. It's our brand. And all brand is reputation. So when they see your name, your face, what do they think? What do you want them to think? And you can curate that. You can be intentional and curate the brand and the reputation that you want to build. And so I was talking to a client today, and they had gone through several social media people. They hired some influencers, and they're like, they hired this one chick that had the biggest following in the entire city, in the entire part of the state. They had to let her go. You know why? Because she showed up in bikinis every day, and they have a luxury brand. That's not their brand. That's not the reputation that they want to build. So you got to be intentional and curate the brand, because that's all we'll have. And I believe Gary. Like, listen, if y'all have been paying attention to Gary since 07, 08, 09, when Crush It came out, and prior to Crush It, dude's been right. I don't care what you think about Gary Vee, the dude has been right. And when he says, listen, 10 years, the only thing we'll have is our brand. That's it. What do you want the brand to stand for? What do you want it to mean? And brand is just reputation. And I'll never forget, man, I was at Traffic and Conversion. Joel, I think I told you this, but what's his name? One of the sharks, Fubu. God dang, what's his name?
Damon John.
Damon John. So Damon was a keynote, and this was pre-COVID. And he's keynoting, and we were talking about hiring. And he's like, listen, man, I don't look at anybody's resume. He goes, I haven't looked at a resume in years. He goes, the only thing I do is I just look over their social media. It tells me everything I need to know about them. That's Damon John. That's Damon John's hiring process pre-COVID. It's like, listen, dude, I don't care what you put on a piece of paper. I don't trust it. But I trust what's on your social media, because I know that's who you are. That's his brand. That's that person's brand. That's their reputation. So that's the thing that you have to pay attention to. So back to your question, you have to go all in on organic social. You've got to be intentional with everything real estate related, curate the product, curate what it is, your expertise, your knowledge, make sure that you're a dang good human being, and make sure that you're an ambassador for your community. Outside of that, you can get into Facebook, conversion, listen, I don't know. It's not my wheelhouse. The only thing that I know from talking to agents across the country, the only thing that works on Facebook is new construction. Trav, you can speak to this a little bit. You've been in the in the ad game on Facebook. It sounds like your main platform is Facebook. You have to know where your people are. Like Renee's demographic, her target audience, they're on Facebook. For some, John, your demographic is probably Instagram, probably some TikTok, right? You get into the younger generation, you get a little bit younger, it's going to be more TikTok. It's more Instagram than TikTok. Going live on Instagram, showcasing walking through properties, going live, showcasing, the neighborhood, communities. Social has to be at the forefront. It has to be. You want to accelerate brand, tap into some celebrities, tap into some influencers in your market. They'll help accelerate the brand growth in your community. Yeah, I mean, I think too, I would look at any all paid at closing type of lead sources, referral bases. It's good to plug into all of those. Every dang one you can sign up for. Obviously here in the States, talking with Derb today, making a move, getting as much Zillow as we possibly can. He's tired of fighting that battle. It's just like they're getting to the consumer faster than we can. So on that side of things, I think find your skill set. I mean, if you're not afraid to knock doors and cold call people and have conversations, like Joel said, go after, desperate, motivated sellers. What's the offer? What's your value proposition? So that's where you got to start. What is my value proposition to the market that can solve the problem in the market, and then just go where the eyeballs are?
Yeah, I would say for Facebook, for me, I don't think it necessarily gets me like new people, but what it does is the people that I personally know are always seeing my stuff. So then they're referring me to people constantly. So staying top of mind to those. I don't know how many of them 6,000 followers Like I know a ton of the people on my Facebook following me personally, and I think that's what helps. So keep it in front of your spear, I guess, the people keeping videos, house stuff, and then they'll refer you out to so and so.
Yeah. And I think too, being in Canada, because it's not as easy to get the information like it is in the States. So if you can be a conduit of real-time information and what's truly going on in the market, and educating and being a voice of reason, and hey, we're seeing this is working, this is not working, this is what buyers are wanting. This is like, if you can kind of educate and do more of that, that's going to give you traction. But yeah, I mean, if you do have the budget, so two questions: what's the goal? What's the budget? And if you have money to put behind it, or you have vendors that are willing to contribute to put money behind it, I would not be afraid or hesitate to spend money on ads in Canada. I would not hesitate. I'm working with one of the top teams in Canada. They outspend everybody. That's just all. That's their game plan. They just, because it works. It just works. You just got to work. You got to work the leads, but the conversion and the opportunity, if you work the opportunities, you work the leads, is there. So I would look at if you have the budget, or you have the backing and the resources to push the budget, i.e. lenders, title, attorneys, anybody that's going to get a bite of the apple when the deal closes, man, I would go all in on paid ads, because I know it works in Canada. Just depends upon the goal and depends upon the budget. So a little more in depth that we can get into on another conversation, but that's just what you want to be thinking about. What's the goal and what are all the ways to get to the goal? Cool.
Love it.
Long-winded. I know we're kind of all over the place, and that's I kind of love the power hour. Lets us to just kind of throw things at you, kind of hopefully spark a little creativity, and just want to push you guys to, find the process, have some faith in the process, and just focus on the things within your control.
I set a new goal. After this call, and that's to get invited to a mastermind that I have to sign an NDA for.
Hey, I'm going to make you sign one at KT.
All right.
You'd be a great addition to this room, Renee. I'll see if there's spots for the next one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, she would. For sure. Well, cool. Joel, appreciate you, brother. Safe travels
Same.
coming back home. Trav, good seeing you. Renee, John, thanks for jumping in, buddy. Is it Joel?
Yeah, Joelle.
Joel.
Okay.
Great having you. Thanks for jumping in. I know we got a few other people hanging out. Obviously, those of you guys in the Honey Badger Nation online with us. Thank you guys. Listen, we're gonna run with this for the next several weeks. Agent to CEO in Cleveland's coming up. What 24th, 25th, 26th of September. So I know we've got a good four weeks or so on the run up to that point. We are being intentional with the One Big Fire conversation that Kinder and Stasek and myself have. I know we've got trying to get Blake Sloan lined up on one of those conversations leading into the event, Veronica leading into the event, and we got Dustin Black locked in as DB is one of the entertainers, but also one of the presenters at Agent to CEO in Cleveland coming up. And if you guys haven't got your tickets, get your ticket. Go to agenttoceocle.com. It's one of my favorite events that we've ever done, and look forward to seeing a lot of you there with us. So, Joel, we're good, brother?
Good. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Renee. Thanks, Trav. See you, John. Thanks, Iva.